Welcome to One Voice Naija podcast, where we believe that one day we will achieve the Nigeria of our dreams.
Welcome, One Voice Nation, to the One Voice Naija podcast. On this episode, we recorded Sese while he was working on launching his new brand from Dubai. Sese is a cultural-driven designer who has established a private design company aimed at shining Africa's brand. Enjoy this episode titled, Let's Tell Ourselves the Truth.
We're fighting for a systematic change. You don't use weapons to fight a systematic change. You don't use violence to fight a systematic change. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So protest as much as you want, but protest in the right places. There are currently people in government, there are currently people in private sector trying to change things for the better good, right? And there are currently people who are trying to take things back to where we were. So we have the good and bad. We have a mixture of good and bad. What we want is to have more good than bad. And then the long-term plan is to have completely good.
What did you see them now going for, the youths? What were they fighting for? What were they clamoring for instead of fighting for ideology? What do you think they were expending their energy on?
They're expanding their energy towards bad governance, right? And you don't get a revolution in a day. So yes, NSAS then begged to, you guys have not been giving us life, you guys have not been doing all that. Come on, do you think all of that can be solved in a day? And saying, okay, until Buhari goes, Buhari must go. Until Buhari goes, we're not leaving this place. Okay, come on. How do you actually think democracy works? Like, this is not a dictatorship where there's a dictator and then you take out the dictator. It doesn't work like that. We're operating in a democracy. He was voted in. Whether he was voted in through illegal means, he was voted in. What we need is to know that, okay, we voted this guy in, but then we never created a system to keep him accountable. He's a public servant at the end of the day. Any president, governor, minister, senator, they're all public servants. We need to know that it's time to change the way we look at public servants. We don't work for Sanwo-Olu, we don't work for Buhari. These guys work for us. So until we put pressure on them, until we make them accountable to say, look, this new governor that wants to come in, you promise us so. If you don't promise us, if by the first year you promise whatever you promised, we don't see it coming to fruition, you can't blame us for putting pressure on you. We can't blame us for saying, okay, we want to go on a strike. And that's what happens in the UK. Do you know how much people that work on the tube get paid? But they didn't just get there in a day, is what I'm trying to say. Revolution just doesn't come in a day. Do you know how many strikes they have gone on? Because they're like, look, we're putting our lives on the line. We're putting ourselves in an environment that is extremely not conducive for our health. We're underground 24 hours a day. You guys want to be paying us £1,000 a month. It can't work. We're all going on a strike. Increase our pay. So when they don't work for 2 weeks, the government will sit up. They have made them accountable, and that's because they have the education that the power has always been with the people. We are just coming to realize that, but we are not going to battle it with guns. We're not going to battle it by saying, no, let's burn down the toll gate, or no, let's take Buhari out. No, it's through strategy, like you said. How can we come together? And we need to get involved. How can we build industries that we don't even depend on the government? It's only in Africa that I see that we depend so much on the government. The government is not a policy, is not a referee and the player. There's just a referee. You play your own ball. And when it's time for the referee to give a foul or a penalty, he would. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Create your own system, create your own environment. I've been in business for a year. The government hasn't given me anything. I don't depend on the government for anything. Yes, there are things the government can do, but I'm not going to be waiting for the government to do things that I can also do myself. Because until we can get good government, right, we're not going to say, okay, we're not going to work. No. A lot of people who you saw on the road protesting did not have jobs. And that's the reality of it. Why don't you have jobs? How much are you investing in trying to get a job? How much are you investing in trying to get businesses? We need to be industrial, endless resources. How much of these resources are we trying to get involved in? Well, it's because we have misplaced priorities. And it was so clear on the day of the protest that we had misplaced priorities. You come in, people are making shawarma, people are cutting their hair, people are selling weed. Even if you're going to do a protest, what signs did you show? The people who you're protesting against are going to be like, our people who are serious. Oshimbabo, they are playing where they will look like these people are not serious. Where have you seen all over the world that there is a protest that they are playing? In America, Black Lives Matter, they're making it seem like it counts. People are bringing cake. So we have misplaced priorities at the end of the day.
We say we should look at the, that saying in the Bible, before you build the log of wood in someone's eye, look at the forest in your own. That kind of way. We say our priorities don't misplace. They go smoke weed for protest.
Don't misplace. They go smoke weed. They smell.
In our defense, we've been locked at home for time. We were bored. So I know we started getting. No, I'm not saying. I'm saying some leaders spoke up. So we started getting a bit, distracted from all the food and So, but some people said, guys, don't lose focus, and that brought people back on track, right? So I feel that's why people need to tap into their leadership. Your leadership right now, from what we can see, is from your business, right? Your style, your design. That's how you're going to lead. That's what God put you here to do. Thank God you're doing it and you're on your journey and you're only beginning. Some people, we found out that we have leaders in Nigeria now. That's another W. That's a huge W. It's a huge win. That we have, bro, I saw some babes talking like that babe in the hijab, woo! I'm like, can somebody, give this to my political party? I will vote for her. This is my president. That was the energy, fam. There are people that are ready to die here, bro. You see people, there was this video I saw in the north, those ladies in the hijabs dancing around. They say, Buhari must go. It's the energy, fam. Those northern people are willing to do that in their own.
Needs to be channeled in the right
Exactly.
places.
So that's leadership as well within us. And leadership, don't let's get it wrong. But leadership is not, hey, you in saying, hey, you do this, do that. Everybody, hey, listen to me. I have it's literally you leading.
Empowerment.
It's about you being the kind of person that people should follow. Because of you do something in a way that people should follow. That's it.
Thank you.
So it's literally leadership is literally leading your own self.
Write that down.
Oh, bye. I'm recording this. I'm in podcast mode.
Why should I follow you?
I'm recording. I got this. Everything's on tape.
I love that. Why should I follow you? So once we start having that mentality, why should I vote for you? We need to also look at the sort of people we're calling leaders. If a leader doesn't understand the leadership roles, the role of a leader, so that he can create an environment where people follow him because he created that environment for people to follow him. Do you understand? If I do a road, if somebody says, man, I'm a businessman, I get my letter from Kano, I'm based in Lagos, right? And I'm a politician. I say, look, I can get a contract for so and so to build a road from Lagos to Kano, build a bus rail from Lagos to Kano, even build a cycling road from Lagos to Kano, build a railway from Lagos to Kano. Yeah, I've created an environment for your business to thrive. By all means, you have given me a reason to follow you. You are a leader. Are you with me?
Am I with you? I am you.
I've created that environment for you to thrive. So they don't create that environment for people to thrive, and not just people that are in government, not just leaders in private sector, but for the general public. Your average Nigerian, create an environment for him to thrive. The private sector also needs to wake up as well. You can't just be giving business owners that loans. Private equity companies to wake up as well. Where do you want somebody who has a good idea, who has no connection to grow his business? That's not an environment for him to grow. Sir, the guys who founded this, I don't know them. You don't know them. You don't need to know them. As long as they have the idea and their environment where that idea can be supported, create the environment. But the problem in Nigeria is that they really want to create that environment for a small amount of people. Oh, I have this contract, let me give it to my cousin.
Oligarchy, bro. Oligarchy.
Hey, how does that work?
So this is how it fits into what you're saying. And this is why we youth need to just literally say you want to be, if you like listening to what we are saying here, it is the first skill of leadership. Number one bus stop is self-awareness. Let's be self-aware to understand that what Shesh is saying here is that how do you expect to change from an oligarchy into what? A pure democracy, government for the people, or the people by the people, because you went on CNN and on Facebook and Instagram shouting. Like, you want to do that in 1 month or something, or maybe 1 year. I don't know what you're thinking. Like, how is that possible? An oligarchy, an establishment, an institution. Like, sure, we call it a democracy, but at the core of it is an oligarch system. Oligarch means the rich, like a few select people, even within the wealth, within a class, govern. That's what an oligarchy is. So that's what Nigeria has become for a while now. That's our government, right? So how are you going to change that with just, hey, you just went and said, oh, we need a job and everything. Bruh. How? Like, maybe reason I'm now. How? Nah, man. It doesn't happen that way. It's strategy.
It doesn't make sense.
Let's be self-aware to that extent and know, yes, we know how to build awareness, but our strategy and leadership are where we need to start improving. And not everybody has to be into their leadership at the same time, but get behind those who are leading. Get behind somebody that, the way he talks about himself, he sounds self-aware. The way he uses his time, the way he structures his business. Like, I really, really believe business is going to take us to that next level, to that new ideology, to that new Nigeria, right? Do you understand? That 2.0 Nigeria, do you understand? SME, backbone of every economy.
Industry. Do you
understand?
It has to be, bro. Did you listen to what that guy said about Africa and why Africa is where it is today?
Of course I did, my bro. I am
That
you,
video
bro.
I sent you.
Of course I did.
The one on YouTube, did you finish it?
Bro, I have to go back to it. Like, the studies is like, in fact, now online course.
I have to go back to it.
Now online course, my bro.
Because, bro, that means those guys have seen our flaws. Bro, do you know what he said? He said, look, every economist knows that your economy can only grow when you are manufacturing things. We have skipped, every country in Africa has skipped that middle ground. So it starts from raw material, right? From raw material to manufacture the raw material, finish up what you have manufactured, that's the assembling point, create products, goods and services, then create the environment like Sainsbury's, Tesco, where those goods and services that you produce, that you got from your own resources, raw materials, right, and sell within your environment, and then also export some of those goods and services. Not the raw material. Are you with me?
100%.
So Nigeria skips that whole process and we're selling out our raw materials. We keep selling out all our materials, selling everything to countries that have the manufacturing, that have invested in the manufacturing, which is the factories, that have invested in the assembling plants, which is the craftsmen, that have invested in the environment that those goods be sold, which is the Sainsbury's, which is the Tesco, which is the Zara, which is the Selfridges. Those goods and services, which is the boots. Are you with me? So that whole period, that whole phase, we can't miss that gap of manufacturing and then creating an environment where those goods and services can be refined, and then the environment where they will be sold. That is where the private sector needs to be focusing on. And the government can't do it. The government just needs to create the environment to support it. They are policy makers. So that's where we need to start G2. I'll be honest with you, all this screaming and SARS up and down is not going to get us out of where we are. We need to use brain, intellect. Imagine one of my friends tweeting that the solution to Nigeria's problem is war. How can something that has no life, a weapon, can't think of any solution, be more powerful than you, a human being that is capable of thinking of endless solutions? The earlier we wake up to start, focusing on that, trust me, we're not going anywhere. We need to be working. Why can't we move when there's wedding every week, party every week? After 10 o'clock, people are asking you, what's the peak? When you should be sleeping, waking up the next morning to go for a run, to energize. It's because of misplaced priorities now. That's why we are. It's not the government. The government, yes, they have a role to